Welcome back to the City Current Radio Show. I'm your host, Jeremy Park. We're honored to be joined by our next guest, Kelly Kowall. She's the president and founder of My Warrior's Place. Kelly, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
First of all, thank you for all of your efforts to help our veterans. It's extremely important what you're doing. This starts with a personal story for you with your son. So let's start there. And obviously, sadly, it's a tragic story, but you're turning darkness into light. And so share the story of your son.
Well, my son from a very early age always had the calling to join the military. Unfortunately, on his first combat mission while serving in Afghanistan back in 2009, he was killed. And I know it'll sound a little crazy, but a few weeks after his death, he actually started to come to me in various ways. And one of them was in a dream, and he wanted me to buy a boat. And long story short, he got his way. I purchased a boat, even after begging him not to make me buy it. You know, why they call them boats, break out another 1,000. So anyways, I immediately started providing boating excursions for veterans and military service members and families of the fallen out in the Tampa Bay waters. And the trips that I provided were basically to his favorite places where he and I used to go whenever he came to visit prior to his death.
I think what's really cool, not only for you having the dream and the vision and being led by that, by your son, but also too, like what you're talking about, in a way, that bond with you and your son is now becoming the therapy and the healing, and also the bond for you and these others who have served our country. And so it's a powerful way of carrying the legacy forward, but also too, using it, like I said, for healing and for light, which is a really special storyline for this, I think.
Yeah, he was all about giving. Most people that join the military are. It's service over self. And I was fortunate enough to have a phone call from him 3 days before he was killed. And he even said, you know, Mom, if it's my time to go, I can only hope that it's fighting for my country and helping to save the lives of others. And he died the way he wanted to do, but he's still fulfilling that, I guess, dream of his to be saving others. And I see it daily at My Warrior's Place. It's really, truly phenomenal.
Before we dive into the work that you're doing and the physical location now and everything else, give me something that you want everyone to know about your son. I feel like from a mother who, you know, obviously has these cherished memories, give me one, either favorite moment or something that you want everybody to know.
Well, I think, gosh, there's so many favorite moments, but I guess for someone who was so dedicated to wanting to join the military and serve in the Army Airborne, I mean, he used to practice jumping out of trees. So he was ready. And one time when he jumped out of a tree, he actually broke his collarbone and injured his spleen. And we kind of joked with him in the hospital that he was going to end his career before he ever even got it started. And so, I mean, he just lived life to its fullest. And he wasn't afraid to try things. And he didn't care if it made him look silly or, I mean, he was all about living in the moment, having a good time, making sure other people enjoyed what they were doing in that moment. And I try to do that myself now because of his example.
Yeah. So carry that forward now. So you started, as you mentioned, with the boat, but now there's so much more to what you're doing. So walk us through now the location and what you're doing at a bigger scale.
Yeah. What started out as just some simple boating trips is truly amazing how it's evolved. About 10 months into it, I really started noticing that some of the veterans I was taking out, we're talking Vietnam, Korean, World War II veterans. We're talking 50 plus years ago that they served. We're still struggling with their loss of their brothers in arms and the horrors and the tragedies they've seen and been through. And I kind of, it was like, what's wrong with this picture? It's only been 10 months for me, and here it's been 50 plus years for them. Being a life coach, I started trying to research and figure it out, and it started making sense. I mean, when they're over in theater, especially, they don't have the luxury of going through the natural grief process. And so, although now that they're back home, back when they get back stateside, they could go to a grief program. They don't want to do it. They've just got out of hell. Why do they want to go back in hell? And plus, there's no program that's really specifically designed for them, because one of the things you have to do when you go to a grief program is bare your soul, lay it all out there, and they're not going to do that in front of civilians. So there really wasn't much out there for them at all. And once I realized that, I was able to put a grief program together with some of the best grief experts in the country. And our first thought was that we would hold this program at a hotel and just travel the country doing it. But after we got the program created, it was very evident that that just wasn't the right setting. And also, you know, you don't know when you're going to have a bad moment. You don't know when something's going to trigger your PTSD or your anxiety. And so we wanted to try to create a place that they could come to. Not only could we do the program there, but when we're not doing the program, or even when we are doing the program, it's still a place that they could come without a reservation. They're just having a bad day, a bad moment. They know that My Warriors Place is there for them and that they can show up. I've seen times when they've come out, you can tell by their body language a lot of times if they want somebody to listen to what's going on with them right now, or if they just want to be left alone. They just need some time to center themselves. And so we've taken what was originally a 2-acre area right on the Little Manatee River, just 1 mile from the bay, and turned it into a safe haven for them with little cottages. They can come and stay up to 90 days with us if they want, for vacation, for transient housing if they need it. We have MacDill with SOCOM and SITCOM right here. So we have a lot of all branches of the service right here in the Bay Area that we work with, as well as we have a very large veterans population here. And we also work with those that protect us on our home front, our firefighters and our law enforcement officers.
Yeah,
and
first responders.
So we're very lucky that we have this 5 acres that we've been able to turn into this very tranquil, but yet happy place for them, and a very safe place for them. 2 years ago, we were able to actually buy an additional 3 acres. So now we have a total of 5 acres, and we still do our booting trips as one of our programs, but we also have our grief program, and we also have several other amazing programs we offer as well.
Yeah, before we talk about the programs even deeper, talk about the relationship with the Nashville area. And because a part of this obviously is, you know, the power now of remote is I can, you know, zoom in and we can do that through Zoom. So you're in the Florida area, but talk about on your end the relationship, because you are bringing veterans in from other places to come out and be a part of what you're doing with My Warriors Place. Yes,
it's amazing. We've actually had veterans as far away as Japan. We've had active duty as far away as Japan, Alaska, Afghanistan, Iraq contact us saying that, you know, they're going to be getting home. They want to come and do a vacation. We actually have 82nd Airborne and 101st Airborne Associations here in Tampa And each year, both of those associations bring down 2 guys. So we have 2 guys every December from the 101st, which is right there by the by the Nashville area,
Yeah.
that come down and actually stay with us, and we get to take them out on boating trips, and we get to do a lot of really cool things with them, and we're so glad we're able to provide this for them.
As you mentioned, those who served and especially have gone to war, they're not going to open up to civilians. So talk about, because I've seen it firsthand. My brother was in the Marines and just rolled out, and he served in many of the wars that we're talking about, especially recently. And to see how he interacts with other service members, how they open up and will share, but how he won't open up and share around anybody who he doesn't think will understand. And obviously they've
Right.
gone through some very deep traumatic things. Talk about what you see on your end with them being a support network for each other and opening up, but then obviously on your end, having trained professionals who really can help walk them through that grief counseling and that very specialized care.
Well, I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that our therapists and those that are certified grief support providers are all people that have either served themselves or have had an immediate family member to have served. So they really get it and understand firsthand. Whereas a lot of therapists, they're coming from book smarts or education. They've never been there, done that. And so some of the things they say sometimes, although it's well-meaning, it's very obvious that they don't grasp what these guys have gone through. And so I think that's one of the things that really sets us apart from other programs. The fact that we can give them that space that they need in a safe environment where it truly is, when they say brother in arms, they mean family. And I see it every day. Someone new can walk on the property, and within minutes, they have formed a bond with everyone there. And it's like this dam breaks. I see it when we go out on boating trips. Everybody will start out, nobody knows each other. It's kind of very quiet for the first couple of minutes. But then all of a sudden, that dam breaks and they're starting to talk. And they get out of their head for amount of time, which we've had people say, I haven't been able to get out of my head in years. And within a matter of minutes of being here, I was able to do that. I was able to, forget about some of the things that are just constantly hitting me, and to be able to relax. We've had a lot of them. In fact, we've got one family that comes twice a year from the Tennessee, Kentucky area. And that's because he suffers tremendously with PTSD, has a service dog, usually won't leave the house, doesn't do much with the family, his wife and 2 girls. But they come to my Warriors Place, and it's like he flips a switch, and his wife came to me last time they were here, which was February, and said, oh my God, his service dog is having a meltdown because he's out with the girls on the dock fishing, and he left the dog in the house. And she said, I've never seen him in all the years he's had that dog. I've never seen him get more than 3 feet away from the dog. So that was huge. That was a huge step. And that's one thing my Warriors Place does allow. We have canoes, we have kayaks, we have paddle boats. We have a little mini golf area. We have a dog park. The fishing equipment and the docks to just fish right there off our docks. We have a fire pit. We have just all kinds of things just to make it cozy and comfortable, and a park-like setting almost. hammocks that they like to just, I mean, it's amazing how I can walk outside and there'll be somebody in a hammock just swinging away. And so, yeah,
Well, that's
it's
part of it being
amazing.
the retreat for them. I think that's an extremely important aspect, is like something as simple as the hammock, and yet what that means is so profound to them to be able to relax. Carry that forward in the sense that you're 100% volunteer run.
Yeah, we are 100% volunteer run. And of course, with the COVID-19 pandemic, that has been very difficult for us because we have no payroll. And all stimulus funding was based on payroll. So we've had to cancel our fundraisers. We have less money coming in, but yet we've had more demand for our services. So it has made it a little scary and financially tight for us. And we're doing the best we can to get through this, just like everyone else. It's just unfortunate that a lot of the boots on the ground nonprofits like ours that are all volunteer run are not getting the funding they need to get through this crisis.
We'll talk about how we can help, because I know that later you're hoping to have more fundraisers next year, obviously, to kind of help get back on track. But obviously financial contributions right now are extremely important. So what are the ways that we can help?
Yes, definitely. You know, a lot of companies have matching donations. And so for people just to let their company know about us and say, hey, can you add them to the list so that they can make donations to us and have them matched by their company. A lot of companies are out there that like to find nonprofits that support our veterans, our active duty, our firefighters, our law enforcement officers. If your company is one of those, please tell the people that make those decisions who they're going to support that we're here. Because like you said, we're not just in this area. We reach out and we have a lot of people from the Nashville, Tennessee area that come to stay with us. And I mean, my son's buried right there in Murfreesboro. He grew up there, born and raised there. And so, you know, I lived there for very, very, 20 plus years. And so, anything that anybody knows, any grants that their company may offer, go like our Facebook page from time to time. Like, I know there's something very possible, keeping our fingers crossed that it happens, but where people voting could end up giving us $25,000. Yeah. So, just to go even like our Facebook page and kind of be watching for things that we may have. We're even going to be putting together a wild boar and alligator hunt and doing a raffle, and that will actually again be promoted on our Facebook page. You'll be able to get your tickets, but it's a 4-night stay at a hunting lodge and getting to be taken out and going hunting for wild boar and alligator here in Florida. And then we'll actually have a chef cook up what's caught. And so, I mean, there's all kinds of different things that happen. So by all means, go and like our Facebook page so you can keep up to date on that.
Yeah, and mention too, as we wrap up, the website and where else to go to get more information.
Yes. Our Facebook page is, of course, Facebook.com/My Warriors Place. And our website is www.mywarriorsplace.org.
Yeah, so definitely make sure everyone check them out, mywarriorsplace.org. Kelly, greatly appreciate you sharing your story. But like I said, what you're doing for veterans is so important, and first responders too, as you mentioned. So thank you for all you do to serve yourself and to give back, to make a difference. Thank you for coming on the show.